Hi, welcome back. Today we are going to build something more challenging. We're going to build a question of the day Discord bot. So how does this bot supposed to work? Actually, I'm not sure yet. So we have a community Discord server and we want to ask our members a question every day or every week. And we want the members to be able to answer these questions directly in Discord, and then we record the message somewhere, their answers somewhere else, for example in Google Sheet. Why do we want to do this? First, we want to enable our members to answer these questions as easy as possible. So hopefully we have a better response rate. And the second reason is that we don't want to ask our members these questions directly in an open channel because sometimes maybe someone want to say something more personal, more sensitive. They would prefer to answer these questions in their own time, so they can interact with the Discord bot in this case. And also we want to enable our members to answer these questions anonymously. So that's the idea of this question of the day Discord bot so far. But as I said, I'm not sure yet how exactly this bot will work. Let's figure it out on the go. So before we start any project, I always prefer to have, even if it's something like a fun project, side project like this, I always prefer to start from design. So we know we are going to have build a Discord bot. That is our question of the day, Discord bot. And we know we have users. Let's see. Our users will talk to this Discord bot. We probably need some kind of wake up words, for example, to say hi. So when the user say hi, the Discord, we probably want the Discord bot. Let's give it a conversation bubble. And when the user says hi, we want the Discord to reply with something like, so you want to participate in today's Q&A. Here is the question of the day, and we have the question blah blah. We may have question like, what is your favorite film? Which is a book you would recommend to other members? So our Discord bot asks this user a question, and here I'm not sure when we want to handle the anonymization option, but what I'm thinking now is maybe the Discord bot can say, okay, do you want to answer the question anonymously? So, and to answer this question, actually, I think simply our user just can give it a sum up or sum down. So, another bubble here. So, sum up or sum down. Of course, I assume now sum up, we can assume sum up means anonymously, sum down means the opposite, but we can always come back to this later. Probably the better way is to assume all the users want to answer those questions anonymously, and only when they want to use their real name, using your real name. Only if the user want to answer the question using their real name, they can give a sum up, so we can record the actual username. But we can come back to those kind of detailed design decision later. And then we assume this user will start answer those questions, and something. What is a little bit tricky is that we need to assume that, because depends on your habit, but many of us, including myself, when I answer something on a conversational interface, I probably won't say everything in one message. So I probably will say use answer in one sentence. I probably will type one sentence in the first message, and maybe then a couple more sentences in the second message, and then maybe another paragraph in the following message. So we need to assume that actually our users will answer those questions in multiple messages, and we need to be able to handle this. And I think this is actually the most tricky part. So since it is the question of the day, we could assume that our Discord bot, so our system, should be able to judge which question this user is answering to, depends on the time. So for example, even if the user started the session today, and this user may keep typing messages until end of today, until midnight tonight, but if they keep answering these questions in tomorrow, our Discord bot should be able to tell that this is we just need to handle this kind of situation. So maybe our Discord bot will tell this is not a valid answer to yesterday's question anymore, or the Discord bot will just say, okay, we already have a new question for today, so do you want to answer this question instead? So although I think unlikely our users will interact with the system in this way, like answering the question spread in like many different hours, but we still need to consider this situation. But as this is a side project, a fun project, we don't need to be perfect in one go. We can just develop on top of it. So let's see how it goes. So I will probably start this project by on the basis that we've created in previous videos, for like a Discord bot starting project. If you haven't watched the previous videos, you can just go into my channel, and there will be a collection called Discord bot. You will be able to view all the previous videos. So here I will just build on top of the existing project I already have, and here we are going to use Google Cloud Secret Manager to manage our secrets. So I've already created a secret module, so it's easier to use. So I will just go to my GitHub account and get this module. So this is my GitHub. This is the repo I mentioned. So we are going to just make it easy. I'm just going to copy this secret.py. So again, there is a video about using Secret Manager to manage your Discord bot token specifically. And if you're interested, you can check out my previous videos specifically about this. So I'm just going to make a Python file called secret, and in this module, I will just assume this Discord. I will just use the Discord get Discord token function from this mini module. So I'm going to from secret import this function, and to use this function, it's very easy. We just need to pass in two things, the project ID and the secret ID. So I can say we don't need these lines either. So I can say my Discord port token is this get Discord token, and project ID let's just put a placeholder here for the moment, and the secret ID. So now, since this is a new Discord bot, I'm going to the Discord developer portal to actually create this bot. Discord. So the URL is discord.com developers.applications, and don't have any application here, so I'm going to create one called how should I call it? Question bot. Let's just call it question bot. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's because I didn't log in. Question bot. Question of the day. So I believe there's an issue. I will probably need to let me clear my browsing data. And I'll try to log in again. I'm not sure what's going on with Discord today. It just keeps log me off. I'm going to create a new incognito window. So just make sure it's not because some of the cookies. I think there's probably an issue with Discord developer portal at the moment. We can come back a little bit later. Let's go ahead to do some other things. So we can assume we will have a Discord bot, and then we'll get Discord bot token. So As we said, the first thing we want to handle is when we need a wake-up word. So we can assume this wake-up word just simply hi. So we can say if the content starts with hi, or content start with capital Hi. There is a little bit issue here because we want, if you remember the Discord bot here, so we want the user to actually interact with this Discord only if they talk directly to the bot itself. So for example, like this. So in this case, we need to probably specify which channel we want to listen to, and ignore all the messages to other channels. In this, I'm pretty sure that we can do something about the permissions, but since we cannot create this Discord bot for now, so I will just leave it for later. So let's assume we only get the messages we want, and the message starts with a small letter hi or capital Hi. We respond with what we said. So you want to participate in today's questions, or maybe we just make it shorter for now. Here is question of the day and something. But of course, we eventually will want this this content of the question to be dynamic, so we don't need to actually update our code every day to update these questions. So we'll probably read this question from a spreadsheet. So let's just put our functional design here. So we will have a spreadsheet, and here the Discord bot needs to read this question, read the content of the question. So effectively that means we can go to create a spreadsheet. So we can go to our sheets. So we can say this is the questions of the day. So we probably have a column that is called questions, and we can write some sample questions here. What is your favorite color, or what's your favorite month, and why, just to make it a bit meaningful. And then maybe we can ask, who is your favorite let's say female scientist, or we can ask which is your favorite book. So let's just assume we have these 3 questions now. We can probably assume that the later questions are the one that added so the later in the column those question is will be added later by maybe some of our administrators. So the last, essentially it means the last line of this column will be the latest question. So our Discord bot will probably want to read the questions, like take the value of the question from the last line of this column. So first of all, we need to incorporate this Google Sheet API with our Python Discord bot. So what we're looking for would be something like Python Google Sheet. So there's probably a Python library already made for this. And as we can see in the quick start, we probably need to turn on the Google Sheet API as well. Project name. So as we already created a Google project last time, so we'll just we already have a Google Cloud project, so we can just go to Google Cloud Console. And this is the project we want to use. So we can just go to API. So we go to APIs and services. The easiest way to find it is just to type API and services here. And then we click enable APIs and services, and then we search for sheets. And we click enable. So this is the equivalent of step 1 for us. If you already have a Google Cloud project created, just go to the API and the services in Google Cloud Platform and enable this API. And we need to install the Google Client library. So this is what we're looking for. So it turns out this library is called Google API Python Client. Actually, I personally have come across much easier ones before. Yeah, but I think we can go with this one as well, probably. Let's yeah, so what I've used before, I've used this G Sheets, I believe the GS spread as well. So this one is actually pretty good. By the look of it, it looks a little bit easier than the generic Google API Python client. So because it's specifically made for Google Sheet. Yeah, so this is the one I used before, and I think it's quite good. So I can just go to install this gspread library. So before I make changes on the master, I probably create a feature branch called the question of the day. And I probably want to switch into the virtual environment as well. think it's called this. Yeah. So it's already installed. So in this usage example that it uses a service account, in our case, once we deploy it to App Engine, we can certainly use the service account, but we need something to test locally as well. But I think we can give it a go and to see how it works locally for now. Because last time we already created a service account, and the service account has credentials, and we just need to see if the Google application default credentials works if we set the environment variable, or if not, we probably need to pass the credentials in a different way. So actually, just to make it easier to read, I will create a new file called, maybe I'll just call it gspread test.py, because we want to test a little bit the usage of the library before we want to put in our code. So we created this is I believe is a gspread client, and using this service account as the way to authenticate. And then the next thing we want to do is open a sheet. So there are several ways to open a spreadsheet. You can open using the title, or you can open using a key that is like the unique ID of the spreadsheet to be more specific. So we probably want to use this way. So I will just copy this one. So open by key, and then we go back to the spreadsheet we just created, and we copy this part. So the part between the D and edit here. So the part between the two forward slashes, and this is the unique ID of the spreadsheet. So we just copy and paste this part into the open by key. And then we continue to, so this spreadsheet, so here what is called spreadsheet is actually equivalent of this file, but to get the data from the spreadsheet we still need to decide which sheet we want to use. So that is what is called worksheet here. So we can just select the first worksheet of which the index number is 0. So we can just copy this code. So this will give us the first sheet. So in this case, sheet 1 in this spreadsheet file. And then we probably want to get the cell value as well. So the cell value belongs to the worksheet. So in here, in our case, we want to just simply get the cell value of A1. And we should be able to test this piece of code now once we get the permission sorted. Just to make it easy, I will just change the permission of the sheet into anyone with the link can view. So now if we test this piece of code here, let's see how it goes. Okay, so by default it's looking for this service account.json file in my user directory. So we probably can overwrite this path to somewhere else. So I will probably go back to the documentation. So there's a more detailed documentation site. And I'll go to API reference, and I think it's probably in the auth, or maybe not. Maybe it's in the client. So client, let me just search for service account. Yeah. So service account and the file name, and we can pass a file name argument, and this looks like the absolute path of the service account JSON file, and then we pass the scope. We can actually just pass. We can probably just use the default scope. So the file name, we're going to pass it here. Okay, just simply type in here. And if you're using IDE, it's very easy to get the absolute path from here. This is just for our local testing. We need to go back to this service account later. Let's just first make sure we can test this piece of code. This set name sh is not defined because we actually call it as ht1. So if I change to sh, it should work. So it already extracted the A1 cell in the first sheet of the spreadsheet file. So the value of the A1 cell is not surprising in questions. And similarly, if we pass A4, it will give us the content of the last line in the question column. So so we can say this is kind of working now, but we need to do a couple of optimization. First of all, we probably want to take a look at what are the different ways to authenticate, because once we deploy to App Engine, we don't really want to put our credential file into a JSON file and upload with our code. So we probably need to take a look at what are the other ways to authenticate. So we can authenticate with a service account. We can authenticate, we can log in using OAuth credentials. But this probably doesn't apply for our App Engine either. So we can see if we can actually get the service account JSON file dynamically from App Engine. We may be able to use the Google Auth library to actually get the credentials dynamically here. Yes, so in this case, we will have to go to the, let me see if the auth already have this. So all the authentication methods here is designed for users, so not for, in our case, for servers. So we probably need to go to check out the Google Auth library. So if I'm not entirely sure how this, if this would work, but we can try. So obviously I also need to install this Google Auth library. So in this case, we'll use this one, gspread authorize. Returns the client class instance. Yeah. So we can probably just use the default. So let's try to run this again. Yeah, so now we got an error, but this is actually expected error. So we just need to set the Google application credentials environment variable. And here I can teach you a little trick if you use VS Code. And in the VS Code, we, instead of like every time run Python 3 and do this testing in the terminal, we can also use VS Code debug. So we can just create a debug configuration for Python. So, and we click, if we are in the debug interface, we select debug configuration and then we choose Python file. And it will create this launched.json for us automatically. And here we can put our environment variables here. So what we need is called Google application credentials. And our credential path is we just copy this absolute path. And then we save this file. And now what this file says is actually just to, whenever you click the debug button, it launches the current Python file that you open, and it will run debug against this file. For example, we are now at this gspread test file, and I click the debug button. So what it says is invalid auth scope or ID token audience provided. So we can see that we already got the the Google application default credential, and it's successfully passed to this credentials variable, and it seems like we have got this sheet as well. We probably there's something to do with our service account permission. Let's go back to our Google Cloud Service account. Here, I was using the App Engine default service account. And actually, it's not the best practice, but we can leave it with it for now. And you can see permissions. I'm not sure why there is an issue like this, because I don't think we have the sheet API permissions here. So perhaps I'm going to share this spreadsheet with this account. So instead of anyone with link, I will change to restricted, but I just simply add the email of the service account into here. We don't need to notify them. Also, this service account is added as the editor. So now we rerun this code. Still says invalid auth scope. So maybe there's something like a scope parameter we did not pass. So let's go to the authorize, the definition of the authorize here. By default, it is or we can also create it like this, but I'm not sure if this will make any change. Yet here it says it's credential objects created by Google Auth. This is what we did exactly. So I will just use this to create this client instead. And then I debug again. It still says the same error, gives us the same error. So let me Google it, if anyone had the same error before. I'm not sure where we need to pass the scope, because maybe it's in the Google Auth here. So let's go to the Google Auth library. Yes, so what we used was Okay, here we can pass a scope to this Google Auth default. So our scope will be, I think we can just copy this scope here. Maybe we can just copy everything here. So our scope will equals to this default scope. So let's try again. So this time it successfully logged in with the default application credentials, and also successfully read the content of the question. And also, because just now we take the service account, the email address of the service account. It's actually not a real email address, it's an ID of the service account, but looks like an email address. But we can actually use it exactly the same way as if it's someone else's email address, and you can share your spreadsheet files or Google Docs files or any Google Drive files in the same way as you would share with other users. So we just put the service account in here. But again, this is our App Engine default service account. It's probably not the best practice if you're going to put this in production, but for demo purposes, for the interest of time, we're just going to use this one in this video. So we have successfully read the sheet using our App Engine service account, and the next step I'm going to maybe modularize this gspread part and integrate it with our main.py. So we probably have something, we need to implement something like getting the to do, get the last line of this column. We probably need to implement something like this, but for now we can just hard code A4. But if we're happy with this, actually we can simply change the name into the name of this file into read to get question, and or maybe we rename it as sheet, or maybe sheets more specifically, because we are going to have other interaction with Google Sheets later. And in here I'm going to create a function called get question, and I'll just put all this into this function for now, and the return value of this function is the value of the last line of this column. But of course we need to implement this last line, getting last line feature later. For now we just get the A4 cell in our spreadsheet. So, and again, to you can import this function called get question. So, and then in our answer we just say message channel sent, and here's a question of the day. Maybe we add a formatter, and then we put get question here. We just call the function in here. So with that, let's go back to our Discord developer portal and see if we can create a app now. So it still seems to keep logging me out, which I don't understand why. I'm just going to try in another browser and see if it fixes things. I'm still unable to create the Discord bot, so I'll probably just leave it as it is today and come back tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.